Alright, what is up everyone? Welcome back to a new video. It is your boy GT here. And today, I want to talk about the death of Hulk Hogan. For those who don't know, he just recently passed away unexpectedly. I mean, I don't know if it was unexpectedly. There were some reports that he's been battling some health problems for a while. There was some saying that he wasn't. But the reason why I want to talk about this is there's been a lot of mixed reactions to Hogan's death. There's a lot of people who are sad and are paying their respects, but however, I've seen a fair amount of people actually celebrating Hulk Hogan's death, which in my opinion is kind of bizarre. And look, I get that he's a real controversial figure in the sports of professional wrestling, but you got to understand, Hulk Hogan at one time was the biggest name in all of professional wrestling, or at least in North America. If you were a wrestling fan, or if you've seen clips of like the old like WWF or WCW wrestling back in like the 80s, the 90s, or the early 2000s, like it was very evident like he was on like the same star power as someone like The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin or John Cena or even Roman Reigns would go on to have much later down the line. And I believe if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s, I don't think wrestling would be as big as it is today. Like, not even WWF, how big WCW was, and or even TNA. Like, I know Hulk Hogan was in TNA, I think it was like the early 2010s and the late 2000s. But the real reason why I wanted to make this video was not because I wanted to, prop him up and praise him for all the good stuff while ignoring the bad, or vice versa. It's because I've been seeing on the internet that there's been quite a few people, although saying, paying their respects and saying RIP to Hogan, but there's also a few people who are celebrating his death. And for me personally, I believe why a lot of people are celebrating his death is because of his controversial past. Because, like, if you do your research, there's a lot of, not so great things he's done over the course of his life. Most notably, the racist remarks that were made towards his then daughter's boyfriend, who so happens to be black, which included him using the hard R. And speaking of that, this is like the craziest timing ever, but Hogan's death was around the 10-year anniversary of that event happening. So pretty crazy if you ask me. And also another one is all the endless amount of stories of his insane backstage politics. For example, him and like never wanting to go over to anyone ever. And also another one, all the countless lies he's made throughout the years. For example, him saying he picked up Andre the Giant when and he apparently said he weighed 700 pounds. Like, don't quote me on that. But I know he definitely he lied about Andre the Giant's weight. Like, honestly, the amount of lies that Hogan has spread, like, it is more than LeBron has spread throughout his career. But obviously a joke, but you kind of get the point. But anyway, I'm not making this video again to say Hogan was a bad person, nor to say he was a good person. Hogan has fair share of fuck ups. He's human. We all are. And I may be biased on saying this because I've been a wrestling fan for most of my life. I say most of my life because I really don't watch wrestling as much anymore outside of highlights from WWE and AEW, but outside of that, that's really about it. Even though all of his controversies outside of wrestling and all the not so great stuff he's done in the past, one cannot overlook all the amazing stuff he brought to the table in terms of a entertainer and also as a businessman too. And also something I kind of forgot to mention was this. If you watched the first ever WWE Monday Night Raw that was premiered on Netflix, you would see Hogan made a appearance, and it was live from Los Angeles, and he was actually getting booed, which was honestly not really much of a surprise because Hogan was a massive Trump supporter, and California is a very liberal state. So knowing that was his final appearance ever is honestly a little bit of a gutting feeling. But with a polarizing figure such as Hulk Hogan gone, like we cannot have it both ways. We need to highlight both the good and the bad. So that's kind of why I wanted to make this video. But anyway, this is GT. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a good one. And until next time.